all a chance, if you have any questions, to ask those now. We'll bring you the mics, or you can just scream.
I'll be a big guy. Right.
I've got a pretty loud voice, so I can probably.
I mean, you're closer to him than anybody else.
Good morning, Representative. Thank you. I'm Mike Walters. I'm the Executive Director of Cambridge Hills Assisted Living and Twin Rivers Independent Senior Living here in town. I'm a 32-year Navy officer still serving in the reserves to this day. So I'm kind of wired to think about service. And currently in my profession, I serve seniors, right? I think about I've been coming to the Chatham development meetings for several years when all of this was, wow, this may come. And then it's like, oh my God, it's here. It's become such a dynamic change here. But as a small business person who employs, 70 to 80 nurse aides, med techs, folks like that, I think, oh my God, these people are going to go run and do this great manufacturing job, and I'm losing all of them. And I don't know if we have the population to replenish that for my business. So that's something I worry about, not, as a competitor. I look forward to all the folks who move here and bring their grandparents because they may come to my building, right?
There you go.
But one thing that I'm able to do that I think maybe the government side can help us with is to continue to raise that qualifying threshold for Medicaid. Because so many seniors out there, especially those who, we're going to have this massive wave of people leaving the workforce, these boomer generations, and that's who's supposed to be 30 years of my industry thriving. A lot of people can't qualify. It is not inexpensive by any stretch of the imagination to live in an assisted living community. Those of us who are in our 50s and maybe looking at that for our grandparents or parents, the sticker shock is coming, and I know. So if we can, if businesses like mine can say yes to more folks who could qualify for the Medicaid threshold because it's a little higher, that would allow me and other businesses like mine to help more seniors have a great place to live as they get older and need more care. So something.
I actually love that, and I think that dovetails into, again, what I was talking about the theories of government. And to me, raising that threshold and having more people be able to do it is an overall net positive. I think that where you, as a business person, and I really think business people, this is kind of where this is going to have to come from. You've got to encourage those of us in office that that's okay. Because again, that it sounds like we've just gotten into this weird space in my mind with government where every time we're doing something that benefits somebody that maybe doesn't have the ability to do it on their own, that is, we almost call it welfare. And that's not what it is. I actually, it's weird that you brought that up because I actually just listened to a program, a podcast, and one of the people on the podcast was talking and said, think of it like this. They were talking about why you should plan at our age to go ahead and, see what life's going to look like in 20 years. And they were talking specifically to people that don't have children. They said it's going to cost you $115,000 a year for your basic needs as an elderly person if you don't have kids. And their point being, you don't have somebody to go run errands for, you don't have somebody that you can live with and all this kind of stuff. So my point being, I think that would be a smart use of our funds is to raise that threshold. But that also requires people to be able to think outside of their sphere. Because a lot of folks, you look at government right now, a lot of people in government are really well off. And so sometimes it's hard for them to imagine not having the money to do X. And they immediately go to, if you don't have that money, you must be irresponsible. And I say, or it could be I never made that money. You know what I mean? And so on. I say all that to say I would love to see that happen. This is a good example of what I mean about businesses telling us the things that we're needed, because that's not something I'd even thought of recently about how it would affect your industry, the need to raise that threshold. But you are correct. There's so many people that you'll see, especially in Chatham, if you look at the native Chatham population, folks that have been here all their lives and now in their 70s and their 80s, so many of them there are going to lose their homes, lose land, lose family heirlooms, things that they've worked real hard for because they're trying to stay alive. So I love that idea and would love to push it. Can't tell you where it's going to go, but I think it's a great idea.
Before I talk to Randy really quick, I just want to say a quick shout out to Greg Lewis over at 39 West for catering today. I hope y'all enjoyed your breakfast. So.
This is a question, Robert, for you as well as our folks from the EDC and the Chamber. So I invited someone here this morning whose job is to try to help businesses actually connect with the federal government and be able to contract with them, which surprisingly in North Carolina and our region, folks are resistant to that. But my question is, how can we help our small businesses learn and understand how to contract with local government, state government, and federal government, and where do people go?
That is a great question and would take a long answer. The short version is simply this, and I know you guys can answer this too. My short version would be that's the kind of thing that's actually incumbent upon us as elected officials, is to try to have forums and places so that you can connect a lot of these folks that can do it. And again, I hate to keep tooting her horn, but Dr. Chapman.
I'm good with it.
All right. But I remember her doing something like this, not for this specific need, but when we were talking about trying to connect folks to jobs. She was just like, and she went out in the community and gathered a group and said, I need you to get your people to a forum so they can find out how to do it. And we've got to do the same thing. And so we've got to figure out, okay, what are these programs that are out here that we can connect people to and get the people who need to be connected to with the people who want to do the connecting. So that's one solution I would say.
Representative Rieves, I just want to kind of jump in there and kind of say, kind of like what you're saying, bring us the things that you need. The same thing with the EDC and the chamber. What are the things that you need so we can continue to provide relevant program like this for you? So if you've got other things that you want to see us do, let us know, because we're open to any kind of suggestions that you think might help your businesses. So I'll hand over here and also you.
I just want to add on the back of his answer and say, as small businesses, you have access to different centers that are partially funded or fully funded by state and federal resources, one of which is the Small Business Technology and Development Centers, and that is run through the university system. They can all help you become aware of the programs, whether you are looking to engage with military, Department of Defense, or state and federal supply chains. In addition to that, you also have the SBCs, which are located with the community college system, and they're right here in your neighborhood. So if you want to get connected with serving the public as a supplier, please go to one of those resources.
And I just need to say I'm the new SBTDC.
Oh, God.
Come up and talk to me.
Well, I need to add to that. I'm with the North Carolina Military Business Center, and thank you for funding us. We are one partner organizations. We are state funded, and it is our mission to help more North Carolina companies do business with the federal, state government. So please, let's keep those dollars here. We don't want California companies and Virginia companies taking our dollars away. So if you want to know how to do business with the government, we are a free resource. We don't charge anyone. There's no membership. We are funded by the state. So please use us, come talk to us. But I do have a question for you. As of all this conversation going on, and I'm fortunate where I get to travel quite a bit, not through my job, but in all the different places. One of the things that I see when I travel overseas is the legislators are not encumbered by this thought of, we have always done it this way. Our community is different. We have lived here 50 years, and this is how things have always been done. How do we get our legislators to think outside the box, to look at these models and say, it's been done. I mean, look at that. It's so beautifully done, implemented. Why can't we try a modified version of that in our community? We keep hearing the same thing. It won't work here. It won't work here. How do we get past that?
I know this will seem like a basic answer, but then you've got to vote for people like that. And that's really what it comes down to. When we talk about voting, everybody immediately goes to party. Mm-hmm. And what I tell people about party voting is, I'm not even at this stage asking for you to vote for my party or his party or her party or anything like that. Vote for people who want to govern. And if you want to govern, you've got to be open-minded. And obviously, it's always funny to me when I hear, because I hear that all the time. It's just like, well, this is the way that this is done. Well, if it was working, I wouldn't be bringing this up. You know what I mean? I mean, that's kind of my thing. And so, but seriously, I think two things have got to happen. I think one, we as communities have to create an atmosphere that good people want to run for office. And that is a real thing. I just had a friend of mine that's in a race where that person's family was just attacked. And not attacked physically, but I mean just in a pretty nasty mailer and all that kind of stuff. And my point about that is this, is that can you stop it? You know, in theory, no. But you know what you can do? You can not reward the behavior. Sure. It's just like in school. If you got kids, you know, if you got a kid in school that every time you turn around, he's punching somebody in the mouth and he's kicking him in the shins. Well, I'm glad he's a straight A student. Probably going to have to do something about that kid. Because in that, we continue to encourage the type of behavior that tells people, I don't want to run. Number two, we lock so hard in on party when we're voting. And what I mean is this, and kind of listening to what somebody, you know, who is of a particular rank in the party said, well, this is who you need to vote for, and this is what you need to do, instead of saying, what is it that I want out of that person? What do I need that person to do? You can have some people that you love dearly that have no business serving in office. I know them. I have family members like that. I love them to death. I wouldn't put them in office if you paid me. And so, you know, but that's what we've got to get used to. And so what happens is that we continue to vote for the same old type of person. So then we still get people who think they're going to do it the same old type of way. And so that requires us to be more active in our government. I mean, when you think about what America is, and I'm not going to pontificate, but I mean seriously, like if you read history and you look at different governments, and like when you get a chance to travel, you look at different types of things, the theory of what we have is amazing. We are one of the few countries in history that you literally can decide that somebody born on a street, lived homeless for 20 years, you know, started working or something like that, can become president. And we don't take enough of advantage of that. It's like, you know, sometimes we just say, well, it's just going to be what it's going to be. So that's how you do it, is you've got to change the type of people that you're electing. And that doesn't mean one person's bad or one person's good. That person may not be good for this time. So the person who thinks that we got to do it the way we've always done it may be good when what we've always done is really successful. And I agree with that, you know, because I hate the change for change's sake. But sometimes you do need some change. You do need to be able to be open-minded. And I think the most important thing that a government official can be is, one, open to everybody in their community, no matter what their allegiance is or anything like that. But two, be open-minded, because somebody's got a better idea than you. Chances are, I represent 90,000 people. I'm pretty sure 89,998 have a better idea than me. Listen to them sometimes. So that's how we do it.
That seems like a good place to stop. Do you want to stop there? We thank. Do you have a question? I'm sorry. Okay. So we want to thank you all so much for coming to this today. I'll let Jack add some closing remarks as well, but we'll continue to do things like this as you guys provide them to us, like ideas you have. I see Dustin in the back. He's itching to ask a question.
Well, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to make an announcement. I just thank you so much for Chatham and Chatham Chamber and the EDC for hosting the event at 79 West. Myself and my wife, we co-manage the space, and I love these events because I look out in the crowd and I see tenants and coworkers, and I see government officials, and it's just we're thrilled that everybody's here. And if you have any questions or you want to take a tour of 79 West at the end, we're happy to show you. Thanks.
Let's give a round of applause to our speakers today. Rieves, Eric Burl over here. So, Jack, you want to add anything?
No, thank you all so much for coming out today. It really means a lot to us. We try to put on valuable events for you all. We want to stay engaged with the community as much as you can. Next time we do something like this, tell a colleague, a coworker, or a friend that this event is happening, and bring them with you. We want to grow through things like this, and provide us with any feedback. For potential speakers or anything like that. So once again, we really appreciate it. And if we could just get one more round of applause for our speakers and for all of you.
And I just want to say thank you guys for letting me be here today, and I appreciate you having me, and I appreciate your tolerance of all of my monologuing. But I also want to tell you I'm especially happy because of what I see out here in the crowd. And this to me is how we become better communities. You have a whole bunch of different people, different backgrounds, different ideas doing it. Real happy to see, like I said, my cousin here, got my cousin Jace over here, and so, you know, it's real good. But this stuff is important, and so, you know, that I hope everybody feels like that they got something out of it today, but it is really important that we have these type of organizing events and exchange of ideas. So thank you for being here.
Thank